You're watching the 25th season of Notre Dame football on NBC.
We avoid getting upset by UMass by continuing to do the things that we do and pay attention to the little things.
It doesn't matter, how many 5 stars or 4 stars, whatever you have. It's all about kind of the work ethic and how you approach it.
We can't let our guard down. They're not going to just lay down and let us win. They're going to come in and try to fight for 4 quarters.
Whether it's UMass, whether it's the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to come out there and focus on nothing but putting your all out there and protecting your home.
Sold out Notre Dame Stadium on a gorgeous Indiana afternoon. And as the calendar turns to autumn, the Irish find themselves unbeaten at 3-0 and ranked number 6 in the nation as they get ready to take the field for their match this afternoon with the UMass Minutemen. And here come the Irish. There's Coach Brian Kelly, who was born and raised in Massachusetts, and he's been telling his team this week, avoid the noise, as they will be big favorites against the Minutemen this afternoon. DeShone Kizer, the young quarterback, gets his 2nd career start, directing the Irish to the victory over Georgia Tech here a week ago. And led by their coach, Mark Whipple, the Minutemen of UMass with their first ever appearance at Notre Dame Stadium. And as you might expect, drawing some lusty boos from the Notre Dame faithful. And there is Coach Whipple, who has been an NFL coach, a college head coach. He is in his 2nd stint at UMass. In his 1st stint, he guided the Minutemen to a 1AA national championship. And there's his quarterback, Blake Frohnapple, who passed for over 3,300 yards in his 1st season at UMass a year ago. Let's go to Catherine Tappan.
Coach, a dominant performance last week against Georgia Tech. You guys come in as the heavy favorite in this game. How would you assess the team's attitude and motivation this week at practice?
Yeah, we had a good week. We've got to go play now. I mean, we've got a standard that we expect our team to play at. And, UMass is a good football team. They haven't closed out some games. But, you just look across college football. The MAC is a very good conference. And they've played everybody tough. And we're going to have to play well today. Play at the standard that we're expected to play at. And I'll be happy.
How big of a step did DeShone Kizer take this week as he gets set for his 2nd collegiate start?
Well, I mean, obviously getting him in the game was huge against Texas because it helped him out last week. And every week's going to be a learning process, so he'll learn some things today in this game as well.
Thank you, Coach. Guys, with the ongoing construction project here at Notre Dame Stadium, the noise level has gotten considerably louder at field level. That means for the very first time in his tenure as head coach here at Notre Dame, Brian Kelly will go with the silent count at home. Tom?
All right, Catherine, we'll see how loud it gets in Notre Dame Stadium this afternoon. Welcome to the stadium. Tom Hammond and Doug Flutie here to bring you UMass and Notre Dame. And, of course, the Irish were impressive on both sides of the ball against Georgia Tech a week ago. What did we learn from that game?
I think we learned that DeShone Kizer can handle the pressures that come with being the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. Off the field things like media requests, school, he's got midterms, he's fighting to prepare for a game. All that stuff, you can fight through it and perform. Now he wants to be more consistent. He said he struggled a little bit with concentration coming out for the 2nd half. He wants to be locked in 60 minutes.
All right, now, if UMass is going to spring the big upset, it has to be Blake Frohnapple that has a big game.
No doubt about it. As he goes, they go. Blake Frohnapple can throw the football. He's smart. He's 6'6", big arm, moves well in the pocket, slides. This week, I don't think he's going to be sliding and moving. I think the ball's going to be coming out, and they may be getting rid of the ball quickly. He's smart. He changes protections. He picks up blitzes. He does all those things that an NFL quarterback does. He's going to be a little short-handed up front, so he's got to get rid of the ball quickly.
Well, UMass won the toss, and they've elected to receive, so we'll see Frohnapple directing the Minutemen attack right off the bat. Sold out for the 246th consecutive time, Notre Dame Stadium, with the Irish unbeaten and ranked in the top 10. And Coach Whipple saying we've got to keep their concentration. Coach Kelly saying do what we're supposed to do, avoid the noise and all the accolades, and play the game you're expected to play. And young Deshaun Kaiser will get his second career start. What an afternoon. 75 degrees. Getting a little cloudy now as we've moved through the day. The wind at 13 miles an hour as the Irish line up to kick off with Tyler Newsome. And Oliphant will receive for the Minutemen. There he is. The freshman with his 5th kick return of the season. As Newsome buries it out of the end zone, there will be no return of that one. Touchback. As we take a look at our starting lineups, brought to you by DirecTV. The starting lineup for the Minutemen. There are their backs and receivers. Tajay Sharp, the top receiver all time at UMass, 188 receptions. And the front, they'll have their hands full today with that tough Notre Dame front seven. Matt Sparks, the senior center, is the roommate of Blake Frohnapple, the quarterback. So here is Frohnapple as they shift. You'll see a lot of movement, a lot of shifts from this Whipple offense. Quick toss, and the ball came loose. It's incomplete. Incomplete pass. Intended for Sharp, and Kavari Russell right there almost simultaneously with the football.
Well, right away they come out, they shift out their tackles and line up in a real funky formation out wide and try to get the quick hit screen. Ball jarred loose by Russell, and I'll tell you what, Jalen Smith just missed getting himself an interception.
Quick offense. Frohnapple completes that one. It was to Michelle on the slant, tackled immediately by Colu.
I like the approach of getting the ball out quick, trying to do the wide receiver screens. UMass will not be able to stand in the pocket and protect and hang on to the ball to go downfield, so they got to be crafty in how they do it.
3rd down and 12 as they're right back up to the line of scrimmage. Now on 3rd and 12, Frohnapple stands in the pocket, delivers, and it is caught by Sharp. There you see the ability of Sharp, the strong hands. That's a reception in 38 straight games for him, and the 189th of his career.
He came up just short, a couple yards short of the 1st down, but that's encouraging for UMass. Get a nice completion out there to Sharp. Frohnapple did a great job of stepping up through, climbing the pocket, and delivering a strike.
So on 4th down and 2, first punt of the game, Laurent will punt for UMass to Sanders for Notre Dame. Laurent's punt, nice sailing punt. Sanders backpedals to the 15 and takes a knee right there. Kind of lost his balance and went down after that punt covered 52 yards. Time now to meet the Notre Dame offense. Starting lineups brought to you by DirecTV. Unit and one of the best in college football, that offensive line for the Irish. So Notre Dame will take over their own 15-yard line, first possession of the game. Here's Kaiser. Blitz comes from UMass. Kaiser dodges it and then cannot last and goes down. Will be sacked back at about the 14-yard line by Trey Seals from his defensive end spot.
UMass has been aggressive right away. Offensively came out, threw the ball 3 times. Defensively said, the heck with it, we're coming after you. Blitz right away. Had the free rusher up through the middle and pressure. They're not sitting back.
Well, they got nothing to lose, right?
Absolutely.
2nd down. Kaiser hands it to Procise. Procise with a nice move on the corner. They'll come up a little short of the 1st down. Jovan Santos Knox, the top tackler for the UMass defense, makes the hit after a gain of 8 for C.J. Procise. It's going to bring up a 3rd down for the Irish. 3rd and 4. Kaiser changing the play. Sean Kaiser whips it incomplete. Pass was intended for Wisher and was knocked away by the defense of UMass. So good defensive start for Jovan Santos Knox, who made that play, and the defense of UMass, as Brian Kelly discusses that first series with his quarterback.
Again, the UMass lineup went man-to-man coverage. Santos Knox stayed with Wisher all the way. Wisher actually had a really nice block on the play before on the edge, so he's going to get a lot of playing time today. With injuries at the tight end position.
Tyler Newsom's punt to Dudley Giles, who has to backpedal. And Dudley Giles will be wrestled down by Devin Butler on special teams. The punt boomed 59 yards, 7 on the return. Second possession of the game upcoming for the Minutemen. And our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you drive 100 yards or 100 miles, choose Goodyear tires for superior performances. Goodyear, more driven. And there's a look at Deshaun Kaiser, who went 3 and out after a sack on the first play from scrimmage. And the second possession for Blake Frohnapple and the Minutemen, who line up in the eye on this possession. First running play, and it's to Lindsey, Seke Lindsey. As we take a look at the starting defensive lineup for the Irish, brought to you by DirecTV. And of course, Whipple has been praising the front 7 of the Irish. There's that defensive line. It looks so good against Georgia Tech. And the linebackers, keep your eye, of course, on Joe Schmidt, the middle linebacker, and Jalen Smith, the great athlete. And defensive backfield, remember some injuries at safety. So Farley gets a start today with Shoemate, and then Russell and Luke at the corners. And the injured Minuteman is Fabian Holler, who is part of the German connection for the Minutemen. He is from Cologne, Germany, and so is his backup, Lucas Coulter.
The two of them played club football against each other over in Germany. They don't have high school football, so Blake Frohnapple thinks he's German, but these guys are legit. They're talking. Yeah, they're talking in German to him.
Well, Blake has a German name, and they told him it translates to Happy Apple. Here is Lindsey again, and this time the Irish defense more than ready for him, led by Jalen Smith. Flag on the play would be our first penalty of the game.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 9, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Smith called for the face mask. Our referee, Pat Garvey, the crew from the ACC.
Well, so far it's got to be a win situation for UMass. A 3 and out on defense. Great field position now off of the penalty. Feeling comfortable throwing the ball from the pocket and turning it loose. They hammered the ball up on first down and picked up 4 or 5 yards. They've had some positive things happen right away.
So the ball now on the 43 of the Minutemen. Frohnapple. And whistles will stop the play. A flag down looked like a false start by UMass.
False start. Offense is ready for 5-yard penalty, first down.
Sharif Curtis with the false start. So when things were looking so good for the Minutemen.
Right, don't compliment him. That's the coach's philosophy. You watch a film, and the kids have a pretty good game, they get complacent. So no more compliments.
First and 15 now for Frohnapple. Haven't seen as much movement and shifting from them as we expected these last couple of downs, and a nice run by Jamal Wilson. Wilson picks up a first down as he crosses the Notre Dame 45-yard line before he's tackled by Romeo Aguara. It's a gain of 19 yards by Wilson.
Follow your fullback Libby right up the middle. 37, lead play, leave the defensive end alone. That's power football right there.
And Frohnapple scrambles, buys some time, and then will be sacked back at midfield. It's on Walu that makes the sack. A loss of 6 yards on the play.
You hang on the ball a little bit too long. You know that Notre Dame has a good pass rush. He hangs on the ball, moves around a little bit. It's got to go. Throw that thing out of bounds. Avoid the negative play. He had initially enough time, no one open. Throw the ball away.
The ball back now at the midfield stripe. Second and long. Swing pass is complete to Marquise Young. And Young dodged one tackler and then will be taken down short of the 40. And a late flag comes flying in as Martini made the play for Notre Dame, the gain of 8.
Personal foul. Clipping. Number 74. Offense. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
That's Lucas Coulter, the other half of the German connection. And a costly penalty for the Minutemen.
But it is a nice looking play. They come off the edge. Jalen Smith's coming free, but it's a slip screen. Get it out there quick. Use the aggressiveness of the defensive front against itself. Notre Dame comes off the edge. Let them come. Slip screen, couple blocks downfield, but one happened to be a clip.
Well, right now UMass is going in reverse. It's going to be 2nd down and 16. And the ball back now in their own territory. Apple sets up a screen, dropped. Michelle dropped it.
Mark Whipple has 100 different ways to throw screen passes, and he does a great job of play calling them. This situation, you're turning people free again. The theory is we may not be able to block them up front, so let's do things that offset that. And let's give her the ball quickly. Let the outside rushers come through. A couple of screens, wide receiver screens. I think it's excellent play calling.
3rd down and 23. And they'll keep it on the ground to Wilson. Jamal Wilson gets pretty good yardage on that 3rd down run. It's 12-yard gain, but of course way short of the 1st down as Matthias Farley makes the tackle for Notre Dame. Farley, one of the captains, getting the start today.
The offensive line for UMass is doing a very, very good job right now. I mean, a couple of run situations where it's extremely long yardage, but there have been some holes. They've been pushing people around a little bit up front in the just in the interior between the guards.
Laurent to punt. Sanders deep for Notre Dame. Laurent hangs it up. Fair catch called and made at the 5-yard line by C.J. Sanders. So Notre Dame backed up to their own 5 after that 41-yard punt with no return. Still scoreless in the 1st. Back at Notre Dame, UMass head coach Mark Whipple, who played quarterback at Brown, then was coach for a while at his alma mater. But in his first stint at UMass, he took them to the 1AA National Championship in '98. Then won a Super Bowl as he coached Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers. Then the University of Miami with a couple of bowl appearances. Back to the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. Then in his 2nd stint here at UMass, saying they're hoping for big things in the Mid-American Conference this season, and he thinks they're headed in the right direction. So from their own 5, here's the handoff to Procise, and CJ spinning off tacklers for a 1st down. Initial 1st down of the game for the Irish after a 14-yard run.
Watch the backside to the left. It all closes down, and he cuts it all the way back. CJ, great vision for CJ Procise, and he is a strong physical runner that is tough to bring down. He's strong in the lower body.
1st down for Notre Dame. Procise cutting back to the 25-yard line as we take a look at our DirecTV lineups for the UMass defense. Up front, including Holiness. Good game name to play for Notre Dame, as is Messiah. Santos Knox, as we said earlier, top tackler. And there's the secondary, Randall Jett, the best man of the secondary and one of the leaders of the team from Martha's Vineyard. Play action fake, and Kaiser whips it incomplete. A little strong on the pass intended for Carlisle.
Carlisle was open initially, came around Zeke Edmonds, finds the little window, and it's a little late in leading him into the backside safety, which was Joe Colton on the backside, who is now playing safety. He's been playing a little bit of will linebacker, but because of injuries now is back at the safety position.
Kaiser facing a 3rd and 3. Adjusts the play. Handoff. Going to be close to the 1st down. So Procise right at the 1st down marker. Robinson would get. Tackles him, but not until he picked up the 1st.
Well, the strength of this team is the offensive line for Notre Dame. And here in a short yardage situation, you know, there's not a lot there. UMass is doing a great job of stunting, moving, blitzing, keeping them off balance right now, and not making it easy on Notre Dame. And another big pop.
Yeah, Kaiser is blasted as he reached the line of scrimmage. Santos knocks again.
He is very active. He's blitzed so far, he's stunted. He's come around the edge, and they're containing on the quarterback and coming up through. He's kind of a leader of this defense. He makes a lot of calls, gets people lined up. He's the guy they look to.
And Adams on that last play replaced Procise. He's still out there. Fake to him, and then the toss is complete. It's caught by Jones, the tight end, and he'll have a Notre Dame first down. That's a 12-yard strike from Kaiser to Jones.
Alize Jones in the inside at tight end position, just going down and sitting down. Nice timing on the route. The tight end position is banged up. Durham Smythe is out. Luatua is out today. So the young guy, the freshman, is going to get some work.
Procise back in. He's at the tailback spot. Gets the handoff from Kaiser. Caught in the backfield and finally dragged down by Robinson Woodgett. That's a gain of only 1 for Procise.
Woodgett comes up through the middle, totally unblocked. He slips through, right in the hole. C.J. Procise trying to make a backside cut, doesn't quite get there, and it's pulled down. Look, slides right in. Your left guard, Quentin Nelson, has to come off his double team a little quicker.
Blitz by the Minutemen, and Procise dodges a man in the backfield. He's down the sideline with that speed. Here's C.J. Procise diving for the touchdown.
C.J. Procise is a home run hitter. He proved it last week here on the cut. Big hole, but gets to the outside. It should have been a 15-yard game, but it's pure speed. And then Will Fuller with his man all the way down to the end zone. Score with your man. Will Fuller blocking his man all the way to the goal line.
57-yard touchdown run as Yoon is on to attempt the point after. Justin Yoon boots it through. 57 yards by C.J. Procise. He's off to the races again as he was last week when he rambled 91 yards against Georgia Tech for the all-time Notre Dame Stadium record. Here he is from 57. A good block from Fuller. Touchdown, Irish. Yard drive in 8 plays in 3 minutes. C.J. Procise, the 57-yard run. Newsom's kick to Oliphant, and Oliphant takes it at the 4. Tripped up as he comes to the 20-yard line. So, Nick Watkins with a special teams play as the Minutemen take over again. They start him young at Notre Dame, as the Minutemen now operate from behind for the first time. Blake Fronapple's dad, Steve, was a big Notre Dame fan, so he grew up by default following the Irish. They used to try to block field goals as they watched on TV on Saturday afternoons, he and his twin brother, Eric. So from the 20. First down run by Wilson. Jamal Wilson only a couple of yards.
UMass is very creative in how they try to run the ball. Right now they've got extra tackles on the field to line up with 6 offensive linemen and try to blow them off the ball. He'll bring tackles over to create heavy formations and get a numbers game working, and maybe even make you lose the tight end sometimes when the tight end does line up.
Second down and 7. Fronaple. Protection long enough to get it downfield and complete. Just short of midfield. Pass to Michelle, covered 25 yards. Cole Luke on the play. Beaten by Michelle for 25.
It'll just be a crossing route by Michelle, but he hangs in, straight drop back. The offensive line's a little bit in a retreat mode, but falling off his back foot, Fronaple delivers.
Gave him enough time with that speedy release. And here's a short out to Michelle again, this time defended by Russell.
He has a strong arm. He has a nice little whip action to get the ball on the money, turn it loose in a hurry when he wants to. He's backing, talking Blake Frohnapple right now. He's backing away and drifting from the rush, which is a great feel. I know that coaches will get on him for not maybe stepping into the throw all the time, but it's buying him a little extra time.
Incomplete. Just going to set up a 3rd down and 10.
Boy, Sheldon Day came free on a screen pass. He didn't have time to throw the screen pass. I'm telling you right now, Mark Whipple has so many different ways to throw screens to try to offset the pass rush of this defensive line.
That one hit Coulter in the back. So down 3rd and long. Blitz coming from Notre Dame. Frohnapple hangs it up. Too far. Intended for Tajay Sharp. Notre Dame's done a pretty good job of keeping him under control thus far, as Russell defended him that time down the sideline.
Well, this is your go-to receiver, Tajay Sharp, big, long, lanky guy, 6'3". Little tug there by Kavari Russell just to keep him in range, and maybe that's why he didn't run this one down. But this is the big play guy. When he gets one-on-one, he is going to get an opportunity to catch the ball.
Laurent in punt formation for the Minutemen, and Sanders is deep for Notre Dame. Just under 5 minutes left in the opening quarter. This is a line drive punt. Sanders lets it go into the end zone for the touchback. So Notre Dame takes over the ball again with a 7-0 lead over UMass. Notre Dame takes over. Josh Adams at running back now. Here's the handoff to Carlisle. And Amir Carlisle upended short of the 30-yard line, but a nice run on 1st down, a gain of 9.
Amir Carlisle's a guy that was a running back, got moved into the slot last year and really made strides as a slot receiver, now getting work again in the backfield.
Kaiser on 2nd and 1 will go to the air and find his man. A diving catch made by Fuller. Gain of 10 and a 1st down, Notre Dame.
With the injury to Folson, C.J. Procyse has taken full-time duty at tailback. Notre Dame needs to find other options carrying the football and see how many touches they can get away from C.J. Procyse, so over the course of the year he is not beat up.
2 tight ends here, Wisher and Hounshaw. And a hand to Procyse. Procyse using his blockers well. Taken down short of the 50-yard line by Dudley Giles as we check in with Catherine.
Well, Tom, C.J. Procyse told us that never in his wildest dreams did he think he would play running back at Notre Dame. And after breaking the stadium record with a 91-yard touchdown run last week, he said he wants the school record. That magic number was set in 1947 by Bob Livingstone at 92 yards. Procyse said he wants it. He also talked about his brother being a huge influence growing up, told him that if Notre Dame makes you an offer, you're going. Tom?
All right, he had a huge smile on his face as he spoke with us yesterday. Empty backfield here. And Kaiser's pass caught by Carlisle.
Along those lines of being a wide receiver that goes back into the backfield, and I was mentioning to CJ in the meeting, it's like all of a sudden you got to look at fronts. You got to know where the 3 technique is. You got to know which linebacker's your responsibility. Did you ever think you had to learn fronts? Very surprising to him it ever happened, but he loves it now.
Said his biggest adjustment was trying to get his pads low and still hasn't completely succeeded. Here's Josh Adams, who has replaced Procyse, wrestled down by Dudley Giles at the 40-yard line, a gain of 6. So C.J. Procyse getting a breather on the sideline. He has already gained 100 yards here in the 1st quarter. Kaiser's quick toss caught by Carlisle. Bang down to the turf short of the 30. That's an 8-yard gain as the Irish biting off big chunks of yardage here, both on the ground and through the air.
Torrey Hunter out in front of him. They were making a nice block one-on-one in space.
Adams taken down short of the 25-yard line by Peter Ngobi. It's a 6-yard gain. And Brian Kelly looking out on the field. 2nd down and 4 coming up, and an injured Minuteman. It's Ngobidi who made that play.
Josh Adams getting a couple of carries here. When he first got action, Coach Kelly said he really didn't know what was going on. He didn't think, and he just took the ball and ran.
Take a break. 7-0 Irish. Okay. Okay. Got it. Peter Ngobidi injured on the last play, the junior from Hyde Park, Massachusetts, and able to be helped from the field to the sideline. So Notre Dame 2nd down and 4. Procise shook a tackler on the edge and then is hit late. I didn't see a flag. Fans wanted one for sure.
There was a little contact, but no big hit or anything like that on the sideline, so the officials just let it go. Right now, UMass is stacking the line of scrimmage, trying to stop the run, daring Notre Dame to throw the one-on-one routes, and Will Fuller is on the outside just waiting. Here's a good look at Ronnie Stanley out of left tackle, staying with his man the whole way, driving.
Notre Dame drive continues. Procise, they can't tackle him. Spinning his way inside the 10 and carrying would-be tacklers with him. Flag is down as he is inside the 5-yard line. C.J. Procise in the first quarter already well over 100 yards. That one went for 12.
There's a little horse collar in the middle of that run, but again, a pig pile and a scrum, and the offensive line loves getting involved in that.
There's no foul on the play.
So no foul on the play, and Procise now with 123 yards.
Coming from left to right, just takes it on the fly, gets his blocks on the corner. Here's a little, this is what they originally called the horse collar, picked up the flag. But then the offensive line loves getting downfield and being a part of this play.
Yeah, Nick Martin was telling us that's their favorite part, that scrum where they just keep their feet driving. So 1st and goal for the Irish. Flag down as the whistles sound.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Brian Kelly, that look pretty much says it all. As the Irish take a 5-yard delay of game penalty with 41 seconds left in the opening quarter.
Those are the type of penalties will drive him nuts. And last week, a couple of them in the red zone as well that were procedure penalties. Penalties that aren't, you know, there's just no reason for it. They aren't forced. It's on yourself. You can line up. There's 1,000 people here who can line up and stay on side.
All back to the 7. Kaiser for the touchdown. Deshaun Kaiser, 7 yards for the Notre Dame touchdown. An 80-play drive. Malik Zaire, the injured quarterback, watching from the press box as Justin Yoon attempts the extra point, which is good. So 19 seconds left in the opening quarter, and suddenly Notre Dame has blown it open to a 14-0 count. An 80-yard drive preceded by a 95-yard drive.
Quentin Nelson, both Quentin Nelson and Nick Wisher, tight end, came around, made their blocks. Quentin Nelson with a pull and a kick out, and it was a cakewalk to the end zone. But the thing that's going to drive Brian Kelly nuts are those unforced errors, unforced penalties down in those situations that against a strong defensive front, going to make it very difficult to run that football in once you back up that 5 yards near the 10-yard line. And those are the things right now that they have to clean up before getting into the next part of their schedule.
And as you see, the first rushing touchdown of his Notre Dame career for Deshaun Kaiser. $47-0 in the first quarter. Amazing start by the Irish week after week. Oliphant takes Newsom's kickoff, and then Niles Morgan on special teams. So Blake Fronapple went to Colonial Forge High School in Virginia. Those are the offers he got. He chose Marshall to be with his twin brother, among other things. Graduated in 3 years with a double major, and then in UMass transferred in, and in his first year of eligibility last year passed for over 3,300 yards and over 600 already this season.
He was a backup at Marshall, didn't get any starts, looking for an opportunity to play, came to UMass and just lit it up under Mark Whipple. An NFL-style offense, passing attack, a guy that loves to throw the football, and he has thrived in this system.
And there's the play clock.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So delay of game. And Fronapple is majoring in management, getting his master's degree in management, and his dream is to one day be the general manager of an NFL team.
You gotta have goals. That's pretty lofty right there.
Got a management major and a sports management emphasis. Could be the final play of the quarter. It's a run by Young, and a good one. Young behind the defense. He's at the 25, the 20, the 10, and the UMass touchdown on the final play of the first quarter. 83-yard jaunt by Young, the freshman from Fairport, New York.
Watch Joe Schmidt to the left or to the right run himself out of the play by anticipating the block, takes the gap, and two men in the same gap leaves a wide open gap up the middle, and then it's all speed.
So Marquise Young, the freshman, with his first college touchdown. And the extra point is blocked. As Lucas attempted it, it was blocked. Remember, if you follow UMass against Temple last week, a blocked extra point resulted in 2 points for the Temple Owls, who went on to win the game narrowly. Into the first quarter with a score 14-6. Notre Dame will return to Notre Dame after these messages from your local NBC station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC. Back at Notre Dame, where Marquise Young rambled 83 yards to put the Minutemen on the scoreboard. Extra point was blocked, and Lucas, who had it blocked, now will kick off for UMass. Amir Carlisle fields it midway through the end zone and will take a knee.
Going back to the touchdown, Joe Schmidt's reading his fullback, Andrew Libby. Libby comes up through and gets his block by Schmidt running into the same gap that Sheldon Day is. And then on the backside of this run, Jalen Smith gets tied up with tight end Brandon Howard. Howard gets up to the second level, locks him up, and Jalen Smith, who's a phenomenal athlete, gets tied up on a block, can't get there, and there's a crease and off to the races.
Yeah, and then Young did the rest. Showed his speed, the freshman taking it 83 yards. It's 14-6. First play of the second quarter. Kaiser to pass on first down. Stands in the pocket and delivers deep down the field for Fuller, and it's intercepted. Deflected and intercepted. This is Dudley Giles. He takes it back to midfield where he is stopped as Kaiser saw it deflected, and then the interception.
Randall Jett, number 4, is one-on-one with Will Fuller on the outside. He's got his tail to the sideline looking, and he's going to get no safety help, but he's in a position to run. So he's right on his hip, sees the ball throw, great break on the ball, tips it in the air, turns into the interception. Phenomenal job staying with Will Fuller with no safety help.
Well, we were wondering if Jett, the best defender for UMass, would take Fuller one-on-one. He was up to the task right there. Fuller, of course, one of the biggest, huge playmen in college football. Here's Woodley in at running back for the Minutemen. Frohnapple to pass. Man wide open. And caught down the sideline by Jamal Wilson. Big gain for UMass. That one goes for 23. Wilson limping off to the sideline.
I love this offense. Whipple comes up with different ways to give people the ball. A little throwback to Wilson. Unbalanced line again with extra offensive linemen and giving a lot of looks. It's just a little flow. Look at all the offensive line. This is a tight end over here in what would be a tackle position, and 3 linemen to the right. So you're offsetting your defense, and you're watching and learn. You have to move the front over one man.
First down from the 34 of the Irish. The handoff to Young. Can't get away that time. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by James Onwalu.
Again, we have an unbalanced line to the left, and I think Young missed the cut. We got all 3 to the left side this time. 2 tackles and a guard. And actually, the cutback lane might have been there north and south, but he bounced it outside.
No gain on the play. Second down and 10 coming up for the Minutemen.
And then they go from unbalanced offensive line to spread no backs.
So Frohnapple from the empty backfield. Quick pass, and it's caught. And a vicious hit immediately as Michelle made the catch, got his hands on the football, and then Jalen Smith knocked him down. That's a 5-yard gain.
Jalen Smith with his head on a swivel, reading, looking, watching quarterback's eyes, breaks hard, makes the big hit.
Third down. Frohnapple's pass deflected and incomplete.
I'm pretty sure they're going to go for it in this territory. 4th down situation, 4th and 5. Sheldon Day here gets a hand up. If you can't get to the quarterback, get the hand up in the pass lane. Nice job of still working. Even though you're not going to get to the quarterback, you can be a factor.
So 4th down and 5. Brian Van Gorder on the right, the Notre Dame defensive coordinator, and Mark Whipple of UMass. And it looks like UMass will take a timeout to discuss the play call. So a big 4th down play coming up, and Doug, so far are you surprised that UMass has been as effective as they have been actually on both sides of the football? They trail 14-6, but they're competitive.
They came out of the gate with the 3 and out. Now, Notre Dame has run the football on them and gashed them. But offensively, UMass has been able to run the ball, and they do it more by scheme with extra tight or extra linemen and heavy formations, and then spread you out, get rid of it quick. I love the play calling, the shifting and moving of formations, the different personnel groupings. And, you know, sometimes it's a little sleight of hand to get people over.
Well, sure, you can't go toe-to-toe with Notre Dame, can you, if you're UMass? You got to try to trick them a bit.
But it looks like they're going toe-to-toe when they gash them up the middle.
Right. So 4th down and 5. Frohnapple sends Sharp in motion. And the pass is complete for a first down. Inside the 20 of Notre Dame, a 9-yard gain on 4th down. Tajay Sharp, Mr. Dependable, catches it from Frohnapple.
Great job by Sharp sitting down. It was a blitz zone, and he just sat down instead of running through.
Knew how much he had to have for the first down, too, didn't he? That was a big key. They go to a short pass to Michelle on first down, hit by Greer Martini of Notre Dame.
Fernapple's doing a great job of getting the ball out of his hand quickly, making a quick decision. When they're in those empty sets, that ball has got to go.
Second down pass. He whips it downfield over the head of everyone. That was intended for Michelle, who was defended by Cole Luke.
Perfect example there. Jalen Smith came free, unblocked, but the ball was gone. He couldn't get to the quarterback. It's an incompletion, but it's better than taking a sack or a big hit. Jalen comes free underneath, gets the free run. He's like, what do I have to do to get to the quarterback? Great job of getting rid of the football.
Third down and 8. It's a run, and it's a good one by Wilson. Wilson stood on his feet. He's inside the 5 and stopped around the 3-yard line. So they crossed everybody up and got the good run. Joe Schmidt made the tackle. First and goal, UMass. Fernaple hands off. Wilson fighting his way forward, but stopped short of the goal line.
I'll tell you what, Jamal Wilson's a heck of a football player. He's tough as nails, sticking his nose in there. A little guy catching the ball out of the backfield. We saw him come limping off after the reception. He doesn't give up on a run either.
Ball is inside the Notre Dame 1. Second down and goal. High formation. Lindsey's the tailback. Off to him, Lindsey. Touchdown. So good blocking by UMass. Lindsey took advantage of it, plowed his way into the end zone. Let's see now. They send the extra point unit out, or will they go for 2?
All the big boys up front. No wide receivers, no wing backs. They're lining up with extra tackles, extra tight ends, widening the defense, forcing defensive backs and linebackers to play as defensive linemen.
Cutback was there too, but he elected to go straight ahead. So plenty of time left to go for 2 later on. They'll go for the extra point. And it is good. So UMass, as Caggiano came in to make the extra point, takes advantage of the interception. Jet with a deflection. They turn it into 7 points. Notre Dame football on NBC is brought to you by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football. By the Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. By Scott Trade, our passion is to power yours. And by Sprint, the official wireless sponsor of Notre Dame Athletics. And a look at Tom Gatewood, who was at the pep rally the other night, the split end for Notre Dame from 68 to 71, who led the Irish in receiving 3 straight years and a 2-time All-American. He'll be honored at halftime. Here's the return by Carlisle. Amir Carlisle crosses the 25. So Notre Dame has surrendered 13 straight points to UMass. That last drive kept alive by a 4th and 5 conversion from the Notre Dame 25. A 50-yard play after the interception. 50-yard drive after the interception. So from the 26, Notre Dame puts it in play now with a 1-point lead. Blitz comes from UMass. The run by Adams. Josh Adams to the 30, about 4 yards on first down.
UMass is standing toe-to-toe, and Notre Dame will be able to continue to run the football on UMass, but you've got to be a little frustrated that they're not making more big plays when they get the one-on-one matchups on the outside. Tom Masella has done just a phenomenal job with this team.
He's been head coach at 4 different colleges, including Boston University when they dropped football. 9 different schools where he has been a coach. pressure on Kaiser, who evades the man in the backfield. Gets a good block downfield and steps out of bounds after a gain of 7.
Originally, Chris Brown was going down the sidelines, peels back and picks up a huge block, helping Kaiser pick up the first down. Chris Brown, hey, Hines gotta love that, sitting there watching the game downstairs. Hines is fired up.
Hines Ward, of course, will be with us at halftime. So first down, Irish. And the run from Adams. He's pushed out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. That's an 8-yard gain.
This time it's Torrey Hunter on the outside as a wide receiver blocking for Adams. So the wide receivers getting their work in on the corners, on the edges, and helping out. You better play the film. The eye in the sky watches you the entire time. So when you get in meetings, you better be working downfield.
And there's wide receivers blocking. That'll endear you to your coaches and your teammates for sure. On second down, Adams hit at the line of scrimmage and wrestled down by Robinson Woodgett.
Boy, Elmer comes around but can't find any work, and Woodgett gets in there, sticks his nose right on the ball.
Kaiser keeps that one and picks up the first down for Notre Dame. So third and short, Kaiser keeps. Already has a touchdown run in this game. And that one a 2-yard gain and a first down for Notre Dame.
Woodgett's a guy that's not afraid to stick his nose in there. I think I saw him playing a little bit of fullback in the first series of the game and running up one-on-one on a linebacker as well.
Carlisle. Looked like it was going to develop nicely and then stopped after a gain of about 5. Still a good gain on first down.
Again, Notre Dame now in a tight 14-13 game is going back to their offensive line and relying on the run game.
Carlisle hit, shook that man, and then advances to the 40 and a first down for Notre Dame. Nice move by Amir Carlisle. It'll go in the books as a 7-yard gain.
Amir Carlisle does this on his own because we've been talking about blocks, and Will Fuller on the outside misses his this time, and Amir Carlisle slips it and still makes a positive gain out of the play.
Kaiser keeps it. Made the fake and kept it. He got another 5-yard gain inside the 35-yard line. Santos Knox got him there. Now Dexter Williams, the freshman from Winter Garden, Florida, into the Notre Dame backfield. Kaiser faked it to Williams and kept it. Ducks out of bounds. That's a smart move as he gets it to the 25-yard line, or just short the 26 it will be, a gain of 8.
Notre Dame's going to need a little bit of that out of Kaiser. He's going to have to run for a few first downs here and there, be able to run the zone read, and just make teams honor the quarterback runs.
Adams back in the backfield. Kaiser, nowhere to go with it. Then pulls it down and finds Fuller for the touchdown.
Little hard play action pass with Will Fuller on a slant route going hard inside. Doesn't get the ball, spins and heads upfield. Green grass. You get near the red zone, you get near the end zone, the ball's going to find number 7.
And he beat Randall Jett on that one. Jett thought Kaiser was going to run it, let it Fuller go, and Fuller catches it for a 26-yard score. And even with the extra points, sends it through. Nice looking drive by the Irish that time. And Will Fuller on the receiving end of a 26-yard pass from Kaiser, his 6th receiving touchdown of the season. So 21 touchdowns his last 17 games. Here's the kickoff by Newsom. Isabella fields it for UMass. Isabella with a nice hop that gained him a few more yards. He takes it to the 25. 7:39 left in the first half. Notre Dame 21-13.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame leads 21-13 over UMass. And the Minutemen are running the football. First it's Willis, right up the gut. Little break and moving. The thing that I want to point out is the size of these holes. Look at this. This is the UMass Minutemen driving what we think is a very good defensive line for Notre Dame off the ball. And a lot of it is being done with formations, fullbacks being tough up in there and driving the football.
And now we'll see whether UMass can answer the Notre Dame touchdown. UMass, with their first 3 possessions resulting in punts, have scored touchdowns on their last 2 possessions. They begin from the 25. Frohnapple under center. Toss to Libby, back to Frohnapple, downfield wide open. And a pass is caught by Nesmith. It hung up there a little bit, enabling Notre Dame's defense to recover to prevent the touchdown. But Shakur Nesmith on the pass, 56 yards from Frohnapple.
Mark Whipple is calling everything. This is a little throwback. Lindsey tucks it under, throws it back. All kinds of time for Frohnapple to lay it out there. In fact, he took a little too long. He couldn't quite get it far enough to make it a touchdown. He had to stop to catch the ball, but way behind coverage, reacting up.
Now Frohnapple, play action fake, goes for the end zone and deflected away. Nice defensive play made by Cole Luke, but now a flag on the play. Intended for Sharp.
Pass interference, defense number 36. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So you run a trick play to slow down the defense, the pursuit, the rush. Now he's got time to stand in there and throw a post route, trying to hit his main target Sharp. Little grab on the backside. Not a lot of contact, but the hand on the back pulling. That is their favorite route. UMass's favorite route down by the goal line is to run a post route with the outside receiver, actually a corner route also by the inside receiver. But if they have Sharp one-on-one, they're putting that ball up.
So the pass interference penalty puts the ball at the 4-yard line of Notre Dame. It's first and goal, UMass. This is a handoff to Michelle. Looks like he was taken out of bounds short of the goal line by Shoemate. Tried to get into the corner of the end zone here.
They're giving him a touchdown. The official on the far side signaled touchdown. But this is going to definitely have to be looked at.
Clearly. Mark Whipple said, what?
I think it's Brian Kelly that should be saying, what?
He wants a hold, doesn't he?
There was, out on the edge, a little grabbing going on. But he's way out of bounds about the 2-yard line.
Yeah, clearly not a touchdown. And they're spotting the ball at about the 3, as a matter of fact, which would be a gain of 1. And the replay group, also from the ACC, we'll take a look.
Well, I think what happened was the official near the pylon had gotten backed up out of play and was maybe guessing at the call, thinking he went in for the touchdown. Now you go to the replay and we obviously see him getting bumped out of bounds around the 2. Right now the ball is marked at the 3 for the extra point, but it may come back to about the 1.5 to 2-yard line.
Here's right what the officials are looking at, the very same picture. Clearly no touchdown. Ball in his right hand.
Got your line judge in a back pedal near the pylon and didn't quite see it clear.
Frohnapple and Whipple. Mark Whipple really lavish in his praise for Frohnapple, said he gets it and we're a different team when he comes on the field.
After review, the player was tackled and out of bounds at the 1 yard line. There's not a score. Second down from the 1 yard line.
So second and goal, spot the ball at the 1. And Coach Kelly still wants that hold.
I couldn't see what number it was, but on the edge, there was definitely some jersey being grabbed.
Second down and goal for the Minutemen in the I formation. Lindsey is the tailback. Take it to Lindsey. Phone-apple toss. There's a flag, an obvious flag, and a takedown of Howard, the intended receiver, by Okwara.
I was getting ready to say, last time they powered it in.
Pass interference, defense number 45. Automatic first down.
So the way Mark Whipple likes to wheel and deal, you had a feeling he'd go play action here. Okwara found himself out of position, pulled down the tight end Howard just to save from an easy touchdown. And you're lining up first and goal from the half-yard line.
And again from the I. Tight formation. And the give is for the touchdown to Wilson. Jamal Wilson goes in from the half-yard line. And so UMass did indeed answer the touchdown drive of Notre Dame. 3 plays covered 75 yards, including that trick play, which went for most of it.
That has to be disheartening for this Notre Dame defense to see a running back walk into the end zone and goal line situation. They went to the multiple tight end look again and just went power football.
Aggiano will attempt the point after. And it is good. So the big play was the trick play to Nesmith that covered 56 yards. UMass keeps pace, down 1, 21-20. Notre Dame, about a 29-point favorite, leads UMass by 1, 21-20. As Lucas kicks off for the Minutemen. Amir Carlisle, 1 yard deep. Carlisle looking for a crease. Finds a bit of a one before it closes down. He's at the 29-yard line.
So UMass has been able to run the football, and how do they do it? They do it by formation. They bring the extra offensive tackle over, create a big offensive line on both sides, running the football up the gut. Here the outside guy is an offensive tackle to the right. So in pass protection, it's a guy that's used to dealing with defensive ends and pass protecting. Again, the 4-man side this time with an extra tight end and tackle, and the trick play gets called. Mark Whipple's doing with formations and a little bit of trickery.
And they have outgained Notre Dame by a yard. As Procyse gets his chance. Uses his blockers for a good first down gain of about 5 or 6. UMass averaging 9 yards a play here in the first half.
Take that any day of the week.
So Notre Dame with that last play has just gone 5 yards ahead on total yardage. Fuller got a block, but UMass recovered pretty well. It's right at the first down marker.
Randall Jett did a nice little job on the outside there. He ends up in space with Will Fuller, and he stays on the outside and turns him into his help. What could be a huge play for Notre Dame turns into an average gain.
Is enough for a first down, however, at the 39-yard line. Kaiser hands off, fumbled by Procyse, who falls on it immediately, and a flag comes down late. Oh, no, it does not.
I think that's a defenseless player laying on the turf, and Edmonds takes the shot at him while he's laying down. The fact that there was a fumble, I mean, this is just sloppy. He dropped the ball on his own, made sure, covered up, and then takes a hit for his troubles.
Well, people wondered if Notre Dame, after the win over Georgia Tech and with Clemson coming up next week, might be a little flat. That was an unforced error by Procyse. It sets up second down and 15. Kaiser calling for it, clapping his hands, and then throws it behind a wide open Amir Carlisle.
So things getting a little out of sorts here with the drop ball in the backfield, and now on a pass that Carlisle actually tried to idle it down because there was coverage deep of him and he wanted to settle. Normally on that pump fake route, you're running fast up through a seam, and he might have caught Kaiser off guard. Kaiser tried to adjust, and the ball ends up incomplete.
Adams replaces Procise in the backfield. Wisher resets. And now Adams in motion for an empty backfield. Kaiser under pressure, got away from it, stepped up in the pocket. And now we'll run with it. He'll be stopped short of the first down by Shane Huber, but he scrambled for 12 yards on the play.
Little pressure off the edge caused him to step up and take off. UMass decided to drop in coverage and keep everything in front of him. UMass goes zone here, dropping out, get a little twist up, pressure from the outside. Nice job by Kaiser stepping up through. Keep your eyes upfield, though. You still may have a play. Nice job of running the football, creates a fourth down situation that I guess Kelly, he's got the punt team on the field, but might have been tempted in this situation to go for it.
Chucky Holiness is the injured UMass player, the redshirt freshman from Springfield, Mass.
It hasn't been total trickery. I keep catching myself saying Mark Whipple, his offense and the different looks and all. They are blocking people up front on offense and driving the football, being able to run the football, matching yard for yard. And then defensively, they're scrambling around and hustling to the ball. Holiness gets his legs whipped out from under him.
And as they tend to him, we'll take a break. Notre Dame leads it by only 1. Back at Notre Dame Stadium, where Holiness is having his leg taped after that injury timeout. And Tyler Newsome in punt formation for Notre Dame on 4th down and 2. And he sends it toward Dudley Giles. He lets it go, and it bounces and is down to the 1-yard line. Beautiful punt by Newsome and covered well by Devin Butler. A 52-yard punt with no return, backing the Minutemen up inside their 1-yard line. Time now for the game update presented by Sprint. CJ Procise with 125 yards rushing here in the first half, most of that in the first quarter. But UMass has rushed for 132, perhaps surprisingly, including 3 touchdowns. Will Fuller, 3 receptions. One of them went for a score, his 6th receiving touchdown of the campaign. And Notre Dame's lead is 1 with 4:24 left in the first half. And UMass backed up inside their 1. Frohnapple from his own end zone. Fakes the handoff and whips it down the sideline, too far and incomplete. Intended for Sharp.
But again, Whipple not afraid to throw out of his own end zone, and it's actually safe to just throw it down the field. In that situation with Sharp, don't overthrow him, man. Give him a chance. But I love the aggressiveness. Again, they lined up with an unbalanced set, making Notre Dame's front think run, turns it loose.
There you see how close the football is to the Minutemen's goal line. Here's a handoff. Not much. Wilson, tough yard or 2. Jalen Smith wrapped him up.
Jalen Smith from the backside runs this down all the way across the formation, finds himself a crease and runs through, catches it from the backside. He's just one heck of an athlete. When he can get in space and just be an athlete and run. Like we saw earlier, he got tied up a little on the tight end once, but if he's in space, he's making a play.
3rd down and 9. Dangerous territory for the Minutemen. Frohnapple with plenty of time. Throws it away. Now they'll have to punt, though, from their own end zone.
Big 3 and out for the defense.
Yeah.
Create field position, keep field position. But I still love Frohnapple's poise. He's thrown out of his own end zone, holding on to the ball as long as he possibly can, just drifting, seeing if anything it might show. Now throw it away. He's very poised.
So thanks to that punt down inside the 1, the Minutemen have to punt from the back of their own end zone. And Laurent caught by Sanders. Sanders with a seam. Now with a cutback. Sanders cuts back again and scores the touchdown. C.J. Sanders, a 50-yard punt return for a touchdown. And remember, it was all set up by Newsome's punt that backed the Minutemen up. They had to punt deep in their own territory from their own end zone. And a 50-yard return as Yoon kicks it through for the extra point. So a special teams TD for the Irish. And special teams made all of that happen with the punt and then the return as the Minutemen had to give it up.
When you're backed up in your own end zone punting, a lot of times you don't get the coverage you need because you're worried about protection. So as this ball's kicked, everyone's worried about protection, getting a late start down the field. Look at the separation between returner and coverage team. No one in sight. Now he has a chance to get ahead of steam, pick a crease, find it, and go. Again, when he catches his ball, he's got daylight. So now he's got a head of steam, and when he makes that first cut, he's full speed. So it's easier to crease it, gets his blocks all the way downfield, and continues to the end zone. Great opportunity because they had UMass backed up in their own end zone.
So the Irish up their lead to 28-20 on the 50-yard touchdown punt return by C.J. Sanders, his first career touchdown. C.J., the freshman from Granada Hills, California. Isabella returning for the Minutemen, tripped up as he comes to the 20-yard line. Tripped up by Farley. And don't forget, coming up with the Discover Card halftime report, Dave Briggs in our NBC studio. He'll have all the scores and highlights around college football. Plus Paul Burmeister, Heinz Ward, and Jonathan Vilma down on the field. There they are. They'll break down the first half, all that and more coming up on the Discover Card halftime report. And this score, as it's announced in stadiums across the country, might draw a ripple or two.
You think? Especially when it was 21-20.
The late handoff to Young. Nothing doing. Stopped at the line of scrimmage.
There appears to be a little more bounce in the step of the defense right now. In that last series and there on the first play, it's like the energy level, they were just out on the field playing for a while, and now the energy level's picking up defensively.
Ryan Van Gorder directing the Notre Dame defense. Second down and 9. Pass caught. Wide open man was Sharp. Tajay Sharp takes it to the 25-yard line, but short of the first down.
The ability to just catch and throw and get the ball quickly out of your hand as a quarterback negates this pass rush. Jalen Smith had lined up on the outside. He was coming hard, and they're all fired up defensively because they had a nice stop last time. We're going to do it again. Ball's out. Defensive line is just out of the play.
Third down and 4 as the clock approaches 2 minutes in the first half. Frohnapple steps up and a pass caught for a first down across the 45 by Harris, one of his tight ends. A gain of 21 yards as Frohnapple stood in there and delivered.
Great job of stepping up through the pocket, remaining upfield with your eyes. Finds Harris coming deep across the middle.
Fronapple's going for a big one to Sharp, and Sharp with a diving attempt. It's incomplete. Devin Butler defending for Notre Dame. The pass just a bit off target.
He turned that ball loose early. As Sharp was closing on the DB, the ball was in the air, so the pass rush again is not a factor. He's putting the ball up right about now. It's gone. And all of a sudden Sharp looks, and it's a half a stride too far. The one thing about Sharp is he's not a speed burner. He's got a good burst. He runs great routes, tremendous hands, and he is 6'3".
Goes to the sideline now on this 2nd down and 10 play. Maybe a little shaken up with the dive for the football and maybe winded as well. Fronaple, screen pass dropped. Michelle dropped it. Looked like it was pretty well defended though by Notre Dame anyway.
Still another one of those screen looks. Every way you could possibly run it to help offset pass rush. And I think that's what Mark Whipple's main concern coming into the game was. You know, if you're going to do the drop back stuff, get it out of your hand in a hurry. If you're going to run screens, get it out of your hand in a hurry. Keep things where the defensive line is negated.
I have to call a timeout. A little mix up in who was supposed to be on the field, so UMass will call the timeout. Their 2nd of the half, and Fronapple's quick release continues to be a major factor.
Usually, if you're throwing the ball down the field, it's close to a 3-second throw where you hitch up. It's near 3 seconds. If you're throwing an intermediate route, it's 2.4. There's 1.7, again 1.8. Everything under 2 seconds because it's quick slants. There's no way a defensive lineman can get to you. That's why Sheldon Day got the one where just pulled off his rush, put his hand up and tipped one, because you get frustrated. You can beat your man cleanly, but you're not going to get to the quarterback. Then when you decide to take the shot, it's off a hard play action look, something to diverge, send the defense one way, flow the other way. Now you run your trick play where it's a throwback, and that's how you get the ball down the field.
So 3rd down and 10, minute 42 on the clock, 2nd quarter. Fronaple retreating, buys some time, and then is taken down by the foot by Sheldon Day, who lost his helmet in the process. 13-yard loss.
Sheldon Day doesn't quit on the play. Coming from here, around the edge, keep chasing, keep chasing, keep chasing. And Fronaple this time decides it's 3rd and 10. I'm going to try to hang on and make a play. Ends up taking a big loss.
So Sheldon Day with the sack. And the clock at 1:33. And Notre Dame has called timeout.
I don't know. I think I heard Carol Boyd, Sheldon Day's mom, yelling in the stands after the sack. I mean, everyone in the stadium can probably hear her. We were at this. She just sat down with the glasses there.
Right.
Carol, at the spring game, we walked in and we were talking as a broadcast crew of finding her with the camera. We didn't have to worry about it. We heard her first. And even though we're in the big stadium now, everyone, I'm sure, can still hear her.
And there's her son, who made the sack.
She's very proud, very proud.
So Notre Dame took the timeout. They have 2 left. And Laurent is in punt formation. Sanders returned the last one, of course, 50 yards for a score. Sanders fumbled it, was able to get back on it and save a turnover. So approaching halftime here, 28-20 Notre Dame. Got to give UMass credit. Like I said, a 29-point underdog, and they have hung in there.
Absolutely, right from the beginning. Defensively, they got a 3-and-out in the first drive. Offensively, they've been able to run the ball at times. Notre Dame has found a little rhythm on offense, right, I believe, and they're going to be able to continue to run the ball. But UMass is aggressive. They're not playing tentative at all. They're flying around. They're leaving guys one-on-one instead of taking their chances and stuffing the run a little bit at times.
We'll see what the Irish can do here, but 2 timeouts left. From the 26, Kaiser's pass is caught. And struggling to get out of bounds is Jones. It's a heads-up play.
It's a nice job for the freshman.
Yeah. Had the presence of mind. Did not get out of bounds, though. Tried, at least. That pass intended for Fuller. And he was double covered and looked like someone batted the ball away.
It looked to me like he wanted to throw that to Fuller, and as he was pulling the trigger, Edmonds slid off his man and almost got underneath it, and Kaiser redirected it into the ground.
So it'll be a third down now. And the clock shows 59 seconds. Looking to make a third down play. Kaiser steps up, his pass on target, caught by Brown. Chris Brown has a Notre Dame first down inside the 40 of UMass. Huber chased him down after 28.
Still with 2 timeouts, Notre Dame has plenty of time to put a good full drive here all the way to the end zone.
Kaiser's pass wide of the intended target, Chris Brown. Stops the clock with 40 seconds.
Saw a 3-man rush right there by UMass. They're getting out of rhythm of what was successful early and trying to pressure and staying aggressive. So now when you're lining up with 3- and 4-man rush and playing zone, Kaiser has time to stand, scan the field, and just pick you apart.
Kaiser plenty of time and finally finds Fuller. Spinning around, still on his feet, now down inside the 30 or 5 or the 25 of UMass. That's 16 yards as Kaiser had some zing on that one.
It was a 4-man rush. He had all day to throw, went front side to back side, delivered a strike.
And he'll spike the ball to stop the clock with 25 seconds.
That's why I say you really can't just sit back. You know, UMass has been successful because they've been so aggressive. And now when you just try to play toe-to-toe and go 4-man rush, 3-man rush, now the skill level of the Notre Dame will take over. He had all day to throw.
Second down play. Kaiser's pass, short. Short hopped it to Will Fuller, incomplete. It'll be third down and 10 with 21 seconds.
Will Fuller was wide open on the wide side out, but it's a long throw, and he didn't turn it loose. He has the big arm, can make that throw. Did not, but UMass decided, look, we're going to go man coverage on this one. 5-man rush. He was a little maybe rushed on his throw, footwork-wise, and threw it into the ground.
On third down, Kaiser's pass across the middle, complete for a first down. Caught by Amir Carlisle. Timeout, Notre Dame. 15-yard gain before Joe Colton stops him.
Carlisle does a great job of bending this around the defender, finding a window. Great strike, and hanging on to the ball is key. That's Carlisle. I mean, this is a guy that was a running back 2 years ago, and he has turned into a really good, dependable slot receiver, running downfield routes and catching the football.
So Notre Dame still has one timeout left as they call time with 16 seconds showing. Carlisle with, you see, 9 receptions, averaging 10 yards a catch.
If you trust your quarterback here, you have a timeout. You can get 3 plays run throwing for the end zone and then kick the field goal on fourth down. One of those plays, probably your last one, could be something in the field of play. But I would say 2 shots at the end zone and then do whatever you want on third down and kick a field goal.
From the UMass 7. Empty backfield for Kaiser. Procise in motion. Kaiser keeps it. Tries to get to the corner and cannot get there. 10 seconds on the clock.
Now by taking your time out, by running the ball there, you've taken your time out, and now you run the risk of being tackled in the field of play on a sack a situation where there could be a 10-second runoff situation that could end a half. All those type of factors come into play by losing that timeout immediately. You still have time to throw a quick fade or a slant or something, and maybe just one, and then kick the field goal down.
Just one, I would say, too. Dustin Yoon, you saw on the sideline, getting ready in case he's called upon. 10 seconds on the clock, 7-yard line of UMass.
And doesn't the ball always seem to find Will Fuller down here?
Does indeed. So on 2nd and goal, DeShone Kizer has gotten the play call from the sideline.
He has C.J. Procise lined up wide to the right. A big body kind of guy that could run a fade route, but he has a corner covering him, not a linebacker.
Procise the bottom of the screen, number 20. Kizer hangs it up, and it's caught. Strong hands by Chris Brown for the touchdown. There's Chris Brown, who scores the touchdown. Meanwhile, Ronnie Stanley, the All-American left tackle of the Irish, is down.
Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. Let's see what happens here. The ball's gone quickly. Ronnie sets and just sliding. Kizer falls into the back of his left leg. By running the fade route with your inside receiver, Chris Brown, you create more space on the outside. When you run it from a wide receiver situation, you're very limited in space. But when the slot receiver is pressed or is running the fade route, now he can fade, and there's a lot of room to put the ball to the outside. That makes a very safe, easy throw for the quarterback. Chris Brown with a great reaction to the ball in the air and adjusting.
So Stanley able to walk off the field as Chris Brown scores his 2nd receiving touchdown of the season, and Yoon will try the extra point. Nice looking drive by the Irish to close the first half. 10 plays, 74 yards. And Yoon boots it through. So with the clock threatening to end the half without a score, the Irish march 74 yards in 10 plays. 73 of those 74 yards passed by DeShone Kizer. His arm carrying the Irish down the field for the score to make it 35-20. And don't forget, the Discover Card halftime show will be coming up. Dave Briggs will have all the scores and highlights. And Paul Hines and Jonathan down on the field now. They'll break down that first half. So all that and more coming up. The Discover Card halftime report. Chris Brown's telling him how he did it. Number 2.
Smiling a little more right now. A little more of a smile, but 35-20.
And DeShone Kizer with another touchdown pass.
Kelly's talking to him about that throw out to the wide side. He worries about his footwork sometimes. He gets a little heavy on the back foot and throws the ball into the ground.
Newsom's kick. Isabella down the sideline, knocked out of bounds as the clock ticks down to 0-0. So there's the end of the first half at Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish scoring another touchdown on their final possession of the half, and they will get possession to start the second half. Mark Whipple and his Minutemen not overwhelmed by coming in big underdogs to Notre Dame Stadium, but they trail here at halftime as we go to Catherine.
Coach, you guys led this game 14-0. How would you characterize what happened after that?
Well, we played well offensively, and we played well in special teams, and we gave up 2 big plays on defense. We gave up the double pass and then the long draw run. You know, we can't give up big plays, and give UMass credit. They came up with 2, really good plays and schemed us up on those 2. And we got to go back and we got to play better defense. To put 35 points at halftime, I'm pleased with our offense and special teams. We got to play better defense.
Coach, thank you. Tom?
All right, don't forget the halftime performance of the Notre Dame band can be seen on NBCSports.com. Now the Discover Card halftime report. Let's go to Dave Briggs in our NBC studio. Ready for the second half at Notre Dame Stadium. Here are the first half numbers. See the rushing yards in favor of the Irish. The passing yards, though, for UMass. Total yardage Notre Dame. The Irish turned it over once on an interception, led to a UMass touchdown. Coach Kelly and Coach Whipple ready to tee it up for the second half. Lucas will kick it off, and Carlisle deep for Notre Dame. Carlisle will field it at about the 3. Broke free for a moment, then tripped up as he crosses the 25-yard line. Let's check in with Catherine Tappet.
Tom, I had a chance to speak with head coach Mark Whipple at halftime, and I asked him what adjustments he made after going down 14-0 in this game to cue a comeback in the first half. And he talked about a couple of big plays, in particular the interception by Trey Dudley-Giles. He said the Mighty Irish were sleepwalking in this game at the beginning, and he said, unfortunately, we woke them up. 35 points scored by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He said defensively, we have to play better in this second half, Tom.
All right, Catherine, so with Notre Dame getting the ball first and apparently having some momentum as the half ended, UMass will have to try to hold them here. Precise on first down.
You know, in our conversations with Whipple, he was downplaying their ability to go toe-to-toe with Notre Dame. The Mighty Irish we just heard there. It's the big setup. Even in pregame, I'm talking to him, you know, we just want to get through it. And he's coming out, letting it rip, putting yards up offensively. Now, Notre Dame's getting their points, but UMass is made more than their share of plays.
3 yards on that first down run. It's 2nd and 7. Precise again. And UMass again is ready for him. It'll be 3rd down. Ronnie Stanley, by the way, is back on the field. He was shaken up a bit in the first half, but he is back in his normal left tackle spot.
A couple of runs where UMass defense stays up stout, creates a 3rd and long situation, and now Kaiser again throwing the ball. Who actually, at the end of the half, that was a heck of a drive by Kaiser to stick it in the end zone in the 2-minute drill.
Blitz from UMass. Kaiser, good protection. His pass is caught. Wisher caught it, held on when the hit came, and I believe, yes, has enough for a first down. 7-yard gain as Nick Wisher gets the reception.
Notre Dame needs a tight end to step up and be the guy. Wisher's done a nice job blocking and now receiving as well there in a 3rd down situation. He may be the go-to tight end.
First down run by Precise. Spun to the turf after a gain of 3 or 4 yards. Joe Colton got a hand on his foot to spin him down. Precise then to the sideline, and Josh Adams on. Blitz again. Adams. Short of midfield. It's going to bring up 3rd and about 2.
Messiah did a great job of fighting off his block and making a stop. Another 3rd. This is not easy for Notre Dame now. They're running the football a little bit, staying in down in distance, but again, UMass slugging it out.
Another 3rd down. Kaiser. Pass wide open man, and it's Jones. He's racing for the end zone. Finally dragged down by Trey Dudley-Giles.
There's a corner blitz coming from the bottom of the screen. Or watch 33, Josh Adams jump out here. He's a freshman now, picking up the blitz. Both defenders jump one receiver. Free man running down the field.
Alizé Jones, 37 yards. Here's Precise. First down and a touchdown. So Notre Dame continues with momentum as they march down the field to open the second half, mixing run and pass, and Precise with the touchdown.
Well, this is the way it's supposed to look for Notre Dame going against UMass. Little zone read, patience, slip a tackle, and easy in the end zone. Good push and movement up front, but it was the patience of Precise again picking his way through and then making a guy miss in the open field.
And Yoon for the point after. And it is good. C.J. Procise with a 16-yard touchdown now has 149 yards and 2 touchdowns on the game. And we're just early in the third quarter. Notre Dame 42-20. And Newsom will kick off for Notre Dame after they scored on the first possession of the second half. Isabella fields it deep and will take a knee. So out to the 25-yard line, and Doug, a dangerous time here for UMass.
No doubt. Does Mark Whipple and Blake Frohnapple have any more answers, any more tricks, or does the momentum continue to build? I think you just stay with that short passing attack, zipping it, getting that out of his hands, and he's sufficient enough at it to maintain. But now that you're this far behind, you just worry about each possession. You don't worry about the big picture, the 22 points. You worry about first downs.
From the 25, first down for the Minutemen. Frohnapple fakes. Chased, unloads it. Caught for no gain by Lindsey. And it was Onawalu made the defensive play. There's a look at James Onawalu from St. Paul, Minnesota. He was telling us yesterday that he had an internship on Wall Street during the summer. Wants to go into finance. Same high school as Michael Floyd, and that put a lot of pressure on him to come to Notre Dame. But he wasn't sure he wanted to follow Michael Floyd coming to Notre Dame, and here he is and thriving.
Well, he was a wide receiver, so he didn't want to try to keep up the Floyd's numbers and all that, but he wasn't quite as fast, which wound up leading to a change of positions from wide receiver to safety and safety to outside linebacker. I'm like, what, next year you're going to move to the D-line or what? But he has had a lot of snaps with his defense, continued to contribute, and is a phenomenal kid off the field, spending that 4 weeks down there with an internship at Wall Street on the floor.
Onawalu, wide receiver, a safety, now a linebacker. Third down play. Frohnapple steps up and is taken to the turf. Caught around the ankles by Isaac Rochelle.
Keep an eye on Rochelle's pass rush here, getting after it. Another kid that we spent some time with talking to. Good effort. I'll tell you what, great job of stepping up through. Nothing was there. Frohnapple tries to step up through, but Rochelle's just a little too quick.
See that C.J. Sanders averaging 25 yards on return. It's a fake. Laurent, hit hard at the 30. Taken down there as Notre Dame was not fooled. They were alert on special teams. Martini and Grace sniffed it out and nothing doing. The Notre Dame special teams have been good today.
Why not take a shot if you're UMass? What the heck? Pull it down, goes through his punt motion. Hope everyone turns and peels back. It's just a little too long yardage. Most of the guys are gone. Just not quite enough speed by the punter to get to the outside. Nowhere near the first down marker. Great job by Martini closing. Jarrett Grace closing. Good to see Jarrett Grace on the field again after his injury a couple of years ago, contributing.
Kaiser, caught by Carlisle. Colton takes him down, but another nice gain, and the Notre Dame offense is clicking now. That one for 16 yards.
Boy, a nice little pump fake and then hit up the seam. Early in the game, they ran the same play. The ball ended up incomplete on the ground. A little miscommunication of whether he was going to sit down or run through. This time, Kaiser sticks him in the chest. There's a rhythm to the Notre Dame offense right now.
From the 14, first down. This is Williams, Dexter Williams for the touchdown.
Dexter Williams carrying the ball. Chris Brown, wide receiver, getting the block for him. The young freshman getting the chance to carry. There's Will Fuller working his tail off down near the goal line. Chris Brown on the outside. Stays with his man, runs with him. Fuller, wide receivers have to block. Hines Ward is jumping up and down and clapping. He wants to go ear hole somebody. Watch out down there, Jonathan Vilma.
And for Dexter Williams, his first career touchdown as Hume tries to tackle on the point after and hit the upright and bounds away. The hold was a little shaky. And the extra point's no good, but everything else is going Notre Dame's way these days as they up their lead to 48-20 with 9:28 left in the third quarter. Cheerleaders a little more animated now than they were when it was 21-20. But since that time, Notre Dame has assumed command. Lindsey, first down carry. That's him 6. Joe Schmidt in on the tackle.
Joe Schmidt, our 5th-year senior captain, goes from walk-on to captain, and he's a big part and leader of this defense.
Well, one of the things that Coach Kelly has said is remarkable about this team is that they have great senior leadership. As he said, it's a great locker room. That's why he wasn't too worried about a letdown in this game. He said it's all about effort. You're ranked highly because of your ability, but you've got to produce. It's about motivation. There's another senior leader, Sheldon Day. And Joe Schmidt.
Sheldon Day made that commitment to come back for his 5th year. Matthias Farley, a guy that got captainship even though he wasn't a starter this year, shows what those guys think of him. At 4 interceptions last year. He's always around the ball.
Third down. Thronapple's pass is broken up. Nice defense by Devin Butler as it was intended for Tajay Sharp.
Butler one-on-one on the outside, stays right with a talented receiver, sits in his hip pocket and gets a hand in there right at the end. Excellent job playing the football. Pressure by Sheldon Day, and I mean, he did not hold on to that ball very long. So Sheldon Day is getting in there quickly. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes the ball is already gone.
And you can only imagine how tired you get if you're trying to block those big Notre Dame guys all day long. Nice punt. Sanders brings it back to the 35, 36-yard line. That was a 52-yard punt, 7 on the return by Sanders, who has a punt return for a touchdown already today. It looks like we'll have a new quarterback when we come back to Notre Dame Stadium. Brandon Wimbush ready to enter the fray. Back at Notre Dame, where Brandon Wimbush, the 6'1", 216-pound freshman from Hackensack, New Jersey, is ready to take his first Notre Dame snap. And it's a handoff to Adams, Josh Adams. Keeps the pile moving to about 45-yard line. Gain of 8, and Wimbush seeing his first action, and Coach Kelly praising him, saying he made tremendous strides in practice this past week.
Yeah, last week he was a little nervous about it if he had to get into the game. He got some good work in this week, had a great 2-minute drill, a lot of snaps this week. Has a limited package, though.
Only about 20 plays, Kelly said. If this is one of them, it's a good one. Fuller with a diving catch, a beauty.
And he has a big arm.
I say, 50 yards to that one. As Fuller against Jet pays off big time. What a catch by Will Fuller.
Will Fuller runs this down. It's out there. He hits stride, lays out, full extension. There's a little bobble while on the ground, but it stayed on his chest, I believe.
First charge timeout, UMass.
Well, let's see. They're going to review it as UMass takes the timeout.
A definite bobble at the end of this. But where is the ball? It's in his lap, on his chest, on his arm. Up, touches the ground.
Yep, so no catch. It has to be controlled all the way through.
All right, bench him. He didn't make the catch, Coach.
But what a play.
Unbelievable effort. How about the throw?
An arm.
Tight spiral. That ball was
Ruling on
launched.
the previous field. The kid played a catch. Plays under further review.
That ball was absolutely launched. It wasn't one of those high floating deep balls. It was a laser with a lower trajectory out there, and Will Fuller still with the speed, able to close on it. Full layout for the ball. He is one of the most dynamic receivers in the country.
Oh, no question.
And it all starts with his speed.
And here's the angle they're looking at upstairs.
Right
Touches
there.
the ground, right there.
It's amazing. After the effort, though, right?
Yeah.
You sprint as hard as you can. You lay out. You ran this 50, 60-yard sprint. You lay out. You slam into the ground, and you feel it trickling over your shoulder, and you continue to stay after the ball and control it. It happened to touch the ground. It's going to be an incomplete pass. Brian Kelly told us that Wimbush has a package where, yeah, we'll run the ball a little bit with him, get him on the move, things he's comfortable with, and then take some vertical shots. Well, I think he should have said vertical shots first. Look at him smile. Look at him smiling about it too. That felt good.
Well, both Wimbush and Fuller showed us something on that play, even though it's going to go incomplete.
But you know, Coach, last week Brian Kelly was a little nervous if Wimbush had get in the game. He had a very, very limited play list, and so this week he made sure to get him some extra snaps. He had said he had a great 2-minute drill the other day on Thursday, and then ran about 40% of the offensive snaps with the number ones because he knew he wanted to get his feet wet. He needs to be ready. It's got to be next man up around here because they've had a lot of injuries.
Have they ever? There's Deshaun Kaiser, who got his second start today. And he, of course, replaced Malik Zaire, who was injured.
He's enjoying a snack right now. But I tell you, I felt so bad for Malik Zaire when he went out. The effort that he put in through the spring, the effort that he put in through the fall to take control of this team, came out and just took control. And then to have that injury happen was just devastating for him personally. He was on the field yesterday with a little cart and had his bad leg up on it and was still throwing a football, working on his throwing motion, still trying to work on things on one leg. There's a big old smile at him, Malik. You see, now he knows he's on camera.
And there's Kaiser. And now
when did Kaiser become the old vet where he can put the headset on and cruise on the sideline? 2 weeks and he's acting like a vet.
After further review, player did not complete the elements of the catch. The ball contacted the ground. Therefore, it will be third down. Game clock is correct.
Well, the fans booing, but had they been able to see it, they would know that was the correct call.
They don't care about the correct
call.
No,
they don't, do they? You're right.
They weren't their guy. So back to 3rd and 2. I mean, you know, it was a 2nd 2 situation, and even if it was a very competitive ball game at this point, it's a good time to take shot plays because you can always bounce back on the 3rd and short and pick up the first down. And Josh Adams, the young freshman, is at tailback right now, and these guys need the work. This is a time where the important backups that may wind up playing down the road need to get their work in.
Well, if that was ever true, you'd say that with Notre Dame with all the injuries they've had. So everybody should be ready to play. Next man in. Whistle stops that one. False start by Notre Dame.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Center Nick Martin, who's a graduate student now, and of course is one of the captains, one of the leaders, the old man, the grandpa of the group. Played with his brother, of course, Zach, who is now an NFL star, who was Offensive Player of the Year in his first season with the Dallas Cowboys last year. And Nick saying one of the thrills of his life was when they played together at Notre Dame. In fact, Zach came back to Notre Dame with that express purpose of being able to play with his brother. Wimbush couldn't find anybody and had to tuck it under. It'll be 4th down.
If he had happened to be looking left instead of right, Chris Brown's guy fell down. Look, but that's all right.
What about that look? And Brandon, if you're going to be playing, you might as well get used to that look. So Tyler Newsome is on to punt. Newsome's punt sails into the end zone for the touchback. 6.5 to go in the third quarter. Kelly and the Irish up 48-20. Aerial view of all the construction here at Notre Dame Stadium. Those will be classrooms eventually. Frohnapple on first down finds Sharp to the 25-yard line.
Frohnapple's pass complete to Sharp.
Elijah Shoemate come up, made the tackle there. He was instrumental last week in stopping the option attack at Georgia Tech. He had a heck of a day last week.
Frohnaple's pass finds an open Sharp for a first down. There is a penalty marker down.
Flag down. Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense number 90. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Isaac Rochelle for Van Gorder's defense.
Just a phenomenal job of getting rid of the ball. Rochelle coming through. See what happens at the end. The ball's out. Oh, hands to the face on the guard. I was waiting for the shot on the quarterback. But that's Bolin he was working against. Bolin probably the biggest, strongest offensive lineman for UMass.
First down at the Notre Dame 46. Michelle. Nothing doing. Thrown back by Daniel Cage and others for a loss of 4. Injured player is Sharif Custis of UMass.
You know, the energy level of UMass through the first half, they were slugging it out right there, and it felt like, you know, if the right things could happen, maybe, and all that. But the size and the strength of Notre Dame has just worn them down. The ability to run the football continuously with C.J. Procyse, and now the young kids in there, has worn them down and maybe taken a little of that enthusiasm away.
Right. As Custis is able to leave the field under his own power. So with 5.5 to go in the third, it's second down and 14 for UMass.
Frohnapple's not going to quit slinging it around, though.
Another completion for him. This one is to Young. Short gain on the play, give him 4. Russell and Smith converged on him. It'll be third down and long. Coach Whipple calls the play.
Boy, it's tough when you're calling plays to get the ball out quick, and then you end up getting caught in a 3rd and 10 situation. So now you might have to hold the ball a fraction longer than you want.
Tipped and incomplete. Jalen taking a bow there. I guess it was well, tipped ball.
He was unblocked. Jalen Smith running right up through a gap here on the blitz. No one's picking him up, so he's got a free run. Good job getting the hands up. Again, Frohnapple knows somebody's a free rusher. He gets the ball out of his hand. He could have been sacked 10 to 15 times today if he didn't have an awareness. And that's a great job of awareness by Jalen Smith, knowing I'm not going to quite get there. Get the hands up, deflect the pass.
Solorant with the punt. Sanders fields it on a fair catch at the 15. 31-yard punt with no return. And the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Irish is Mike Sanford. And as often the case here at Notre Dame, there is a story behind that. His dad, Mike Sr., was an assistant coach at Notre Dame, 97 and 98, and Mike was a ball boy
and then later played at Penn High School in Mishawaka. And there is Mike from Indiana State now, and on the sideline to see the game here, returning to South Bend, where his son is one of the mainstays of this offense. As the pass goes to Torrey Hunter. And for more on the Sanfords, let's go to Catherine.
Well, Tom, Mike Sr. has the weekend off. That is because he is the head coach at Indiana State University, as you mentioned, and they have a bye week this week. He's here with his family and his grandchildren, enjoying the sidelines, and he said he's most proud of his son's relationship with the players, the way that Mike Jr. cares for the players, his involvement in their lives. It seems to be a recurring theme, guys, with all the coaches we talk to in college football, Tom.
All right, in fact, Coach Whipple is the handoff goes to Josh Adams. Coach Whipple of UMass said that one of the reasons he returned to UMass because they have good kids and he wants to have an impact on the young man's life.
Well, that's a common theme with college coaches, and it's so important to them, and they live the job, they love it. Actually, Mike Sr. coached as an assistant coach with the San Diego Chargers when I was out there, so I know the family a little bit, and it was fun to see Mike Sr. yesterday at the walkthrough practice.
Tough run by Josh Adams. That one went for 8. So the key backups getting some meaningful snaps here.
Josh Adams may have to carry the load at some point this year. His area he needs to pick up on are the X and O's end of it as far as blitz pickup, the actual running of the offense. When he first started carrying the football, he was very instinctive and just took off and ran. And then Brian Kelly said he thought he started to learn it and started overthinking it week 2. So there's a point where just a little bit of knowledge is hurtful.
And speaking of the family affair, there's that going on at UMass too. Coach Mark Whipple has Austin and Spencer. Spencer an assistant coach and Austin a backup quarterback. And so the family affair beat goes on at UMass as well. In fact, run by Wimbush. Wimbush is going to break it. Touchdown! Brandon Wimbush, first touchdown of his Notre Dame career. 58-yard ramble.
Look at the smile from Malik Zaire. Runs the zone read, nice little read, pulls the ball, gets behind his own lineman, pulls out of a tech. He was the #1 two-dimensional quarterback out of New Jersey when he was recruited that year. The two-dimensional meaning running and throwing. He's a strong runner and takes off, and he's a quarterback that leaves guys in the dust in the open field.
This time Yoon does hit the extra point to make it 55-20 as Brandon Wimbush takes off to the races.
When Malik Zaire got on the field for the first time last year, he ran a zone read and took off on a long gallop. But he didn't have the stride to get to the end zone, and he took some grief on the sideline. But it was very similar in his first opportunities that Brandon Wimbush gets to take off on a long run.
Brandon doesn't even look winded. I figured that he might be huffing and puffing over there.
Well, if your adrenaline's going, that makes you even more tired. When you take those long runs, I was never a great sprinter of any kind. I held my breath. I always I tightened up, held the breath, and I'm running, and I'm running out of gas. I'm looking for somebody to pitch the ball to. These kids can fly. They've got great strides. And what's fun is to see Kaiser happy for him. You know, it's a team game. They're all in that same room, that meeting room, going through meetings, getting ready, preparing, and it's a real team feel, all the quarterbacks.
In fact, the whole team and coaches seem to have an unusually strong bond between them on this team, and that's thanks to the senior leadership. Here's Isabella's return. Ball comes loose. Oh, Isabella got it back. That was a tough recovery as the ball was sort of spinning on its end, and he was able to grab it.
What a day Sheldon Day has had. He's You cannot block this guy. It's amazing how quickly he gets off the ball, beats blocks, quick screens. He's pressuring the quarterback on a wide receiver screen. Again, pressuring the quarterback almost like he's untouched. He's beating people off the line of scrimmage. Thankfully, Frohnapple holds on to the ball one time so he can get to him. And of course, the helmet happens to pop off, so Mom's real happy in the stands. But it's his first step that is so explosive.
Frohnapple rolling to his right, delivering a strike to Michelle. How do you assess Blake Frohnapple's pro potential?
Oh, I think that is the future for him. I mean, he stands in there and throws the ball. He moves well. He's done everything today asked of him. They're outmatched, so a lot is on his shoulders. And talking to Mark Whipple, he controls pass protection, makes the Mike calls, picks up blitzes. Mike calls is distinguishing the middle linebacker for the offensive line. He does everything an NFL quarterback does at the line of scrimmage.
Lindsey stopped in his tracks by Rochelle.
Again, as the game gets on, the size and strength of the defensive line takes over. Rochelle beats his man right off the snap of the ball, clean into the backfield and wrap up. I mean, it's getting to the point where that power throughout 3/4 of football wears you down.
Isaac Rochelle was talking to us about his mom, Gina, who's a teacher. Has inspired him in a lot of ways. Coming to Notre Dame would be one. She said it's a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision. And because of his mom's influence, Isaac is thinking that he might want to one day be a teacher.
You know, you hear the 40-year decision when the kids from Notre Dame are talking, and it's a common thread. They know they're also thinking about their future after football. And it's really a joy to sit down and talk to some of these kids and hear, you know, how serious they are about their education and their future, and they're playing big-time Division I football.
I don't know about you, but I was not nearly as articulate when I was in college.
I was afraid to talk.
It's pretty amazing. Final seconds of the third quarter. Frohnapple slings it downfield for Sharp, deflected and intercepted. Luke got it on the deflection. Farley is the man that tipped it, and Luke recovers it, and then Sharp able to get a foot on him to stop a return.
Matthias Farley is reading the quarterback's eyes, anticipating this throw, almost turning a receiver loose down the middle of the field. He reads the quarterback's eyes to the left all the way, leaves his man, goes over the top, and gets a hand on it. Cole Luke with awareness off the tip drill gets the interception, but it was Matthias Farley's anticipation that got him to that ball. Again, he's always around the ball making plays.
That tip drill, they work on it all the time. Pays off there. UMass had one earlier, a tip drill for an interception that they later turned into a touchdown. But that was long ago now, as Dexter Williams gets the call. Nearly broke it. And that'll be the final play of the third quarter. It's 55-20. We'll return to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local NBC station.
And that's the aspect of the young running back. Pass protection, learning fronts, learning your responsibility. The carrying the football part, they can all do that. But it's the other stuff that comes along with it. He's a specimen, though.
Robinson Widget made that last tackle on Dexter Williams. Shook one tackler and picked up the first down. Dexter's 5'10". He weighs 200 pounds. He's from Winter Garden, Florida. Played one game prior to today, averaging 3 yards a carry.
Boy, he put his foot in the ground and cut back, stayed on great balance, extremely strong.
10 yards on that one. Diving catch made by St. Brown from Wimbush. That's 8 yards. So even the reserves of Notre Dame are having their way with the defense at the moment.
St. Brown, a true freshman, He's a guy that may get some playing time. Snap gets away. Wimbush wasn't looking as the ball was snapped in that instant. I don't know if it was a quick snap that he wasn't ready for, or what exactly happened.
Loss of 20, and of course, with all these different quarterbacks, the cadence and the timing between the center and the quarterback and all the players really is something you have to get used to.
He just wanted a challenge. He just wants a challenge.
Yeah,
What's the down and distance? 3rd and a mile.
Where's Fuller? Looked like a quarterback draw. Bounces outside and now will throw it. Kept his eyes downfield, Doug. You'd be proud of that. And throws a touchdown pass.
But what happens when you call a run play and you wind up throwing the ball? You have linemen downfield.
Oh, yeah. So the flag is out.
Notre man is downfield, offense in the 53. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
He probably missed his cut out to the right if he had been a little more patient. So that doesn't happen. He moves to the left. He could have just maybe quickly thrown it out of bounds and nothing would have happened. But he took that extra fraction of a second to look downfield, find an open receiver. Watch the center here. Wind up getting downfield. It's not his fault. He's got to go get second level now. He's gone. And it's supposed to be a run, so he's just doing his job.
It negates a 44-yard touchdown pass on 3rd and long. 3rd and longer. Wow. That was a bullet. Throws a rocket downfield behind Hunter and incomplete.
Wimbush hitches up into this throw, waiting for a second wind. He's going to throw this in route no matter what. He's waiting for a chance to stick it in there and just turns it loose a little bit behind Torrey Hunter. That was a fastball.
It was.
Maybe 92, 93.
Yeah. And the punt will bound into the end zone for the touchback from Newsom. 55-20. Kelly and the Irish about to go 4-0. Rob Highland, our producer, Pierre Moussa, our director, all here at Notre Dame Stadium. Caught it up here in the last few hours, but a very pleasant autumn day in the 70s. Here's Young. He's had a couple of nice runs today, and Young gets 17 on that one. Max Redfield in the game and made the tackle on Marquise Young.
A couple of weeks ago, he had a surgery on his hand and came back. Wasn't quite full speed, sat out. Now getting more playing time again. They're going to need him.
I think he said he probably shouldn't have played against Virginia. It was not at full speed and kind of got into the coach's doghouse by missing some plays.
So many guys play with that cast on the hand, and I just couldn't imagine. I'm such more, it's all about skill level. Or I put pads on for 35 years. I still haven't hit anybody. So for these guys to lower that shoulder and hit people and have maybe a broken bone or a surgery with a cast on it, I'm amazed.
Second down. Not much up the middle for Woodley. Niles Morgan, who's had a couple of special teams tackles, makes that one from scrimmage.
Niles Morgan, a guy that stepped in out of necessity last year, a ton of injuries, wasn't really phenomenal athlete. Wasn't sure what he was doing, lining up, just trying to be instinctive and play. He's a guy they may need down the road as well. So this is a time when these guys that might be helping you towards the end of the year need to get some experience.
Frohnapple still slinging him, and he has Sharp for a first down. In the Irish territory. How many times has Frohnapple thrown now?
Those two are not going to quit throwing. I mean, they're just going to turn it loose and keep going.
33 he's attempted now. He had 55 against Temple.
He'll get the 50.
There's another one, and then another completion. This is Michelle.
There's no quid. Good job of play calling. Little finesse, a little bootleg. That's a safe play. Get it out of his hand and find a way at some point to take some shots.
And they've got to think about, not letting this loss devastate them, because they have the MAC still to go, and that could be their, their primary focus of the season would be to win in the MAC. They're leaving the MAC after this year and going independent.
Well, right there, unblocked rusher at Fronapo. He completes the ball down the field. He did a little what I call chuck and duck. You throw the ball and duck out of the way of the hit. But they have nothing to be embarrassed about. They came out slinging it, going head to head, and have done a great job today.
Sharp again from Fronapo. That one covered 14, so UMass will go to 0-3. Coming up, they'll play Florida International, then at Bowling Green, Kent State and Toledo at home, and at Ball State. That one incomplete off the hands of Nesmith. Hit by Coleman.
But when you go back to the MAC schedule, after fighting with a team as deep and strong and physical as Notre Dame, you've got to be confident with the things that you did in the first half of this game. You've got to have a lot of confidence going into that. They had 3 MAC victories last year, which was triple what they had done the years before. And everything is on an uptick.
Well, Fronapo hung that one up, hoping his man Harris could come down with it, but Coleman had other thoughts.
Coleman did a great job of playing the ball in the air, sees it thrown, drifts back. Originally sharp. Maybe not just knocking it down. You could have come up with that one.
That one's through the hands of Michelle.
Fronapo thought he threw a good ball, and he did. Michelle slipped coming out of the break. That's what, with timing with this kid, he is throwing everything in. He's not waiting for the receiver to break open and then give him the ball. He's anticipating cuts and turning it loose.
I was saying earlier that Mark Whipple's son Spencer's on the staff, and some of the players got notes that said, "See Coach Whipple," and they all showed up at Mark's office. They didn't know that his son was on the staff. 4th down. Wide open. Behind him, though. He had a touchdown to Michelle and threw it behind him.
Michelle coming out of the backfield, turn free. It's an all-out blitz by Notre Dame, so there's a missed assignment. Someone should be peeling off to pick them up. They don't. They come. Give me the ball. This is one where if Blake Fronapo could have just been a little more patient, he would have made an easy lob throw. Instead, he tried to anticipate, and they just missed.
So the ball goes over to Notre Dame, up big. Just over 10 minutes left, and Blake Fronapo not happy. He missed a sure touchdown pass on that last attempt behind Michelle. So Notre Dame takes over on downs. Hand off to Adams. Josh tripped up. As we take a look at our quarterback comparison, brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Just a real efficient day for Kaiser. A couple of touchdown passes. The one interception was not a bad decision. It was a deep ball that got tipped up. And for Fronapo, the number's around 50%. I mean, you're throwing a ball on every down against a tough defense. That's adequate there. That, you're still gaining yards. You're moving the football. He's got so much on his shoulder in this offense.
And Kaiser, did he progress as Notre Dame fans were hoping?
I think he stayed after it. I think, and I was talking to him one-on-one, that you do some good things in the first half or get through a section of the game, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm having a good day. I don't want to mess this thing up. I want to keep it going.
Injured player on the field. We'll take a break. Zeke Edmonds, number 2 there in the background, was the injured UMass player, able to trot off the field. There's a keep by Wimbush for a first down.
Brandon Wimbush.
He was a half a stride away from taking off again. They're just tripped up. But I think Brandon likes to run with the ball. Brandon Bush likes to run with the football.
Nine minutes to go in the game. At one time it was 21-20. Notre Dame's lead was only 1 after a blocked extra point. And look what they've done since.
This is the stuff Brian Kelly wants to see. Checking the line of scrimmage, getting the protection straight or a run straight.
Josh Adams breaks it. Adams down the sideline. Cuts back for the touchdown. St. Brown downfield as the wide receiver blockers continue to show their stuff today.
Well, that's what turns a mediocre, decent run into a touchdown is the downfield blocking by the wide receivers, but pure speed. It's pretty amazing. These young backs take off. They see the opportunity, fights through, strong upper body there. But when they see the opportunity to break something, they kick it into another gear.
70 yards that time for Josh Adams. As Yoon adds the extra point. 8.5 to go. Josh Adams gets in on the act. Long day for Whipple. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on NBC. Here's Newsome with the kickoff after the touchdown run by Josh Adams. Isabella with the return. Short of the 25. And time now for Mercedes-Benz top performances. November 12th, 1977, a pair of top 15 football teams met in Clemson's Death Valley. A 5th-ranked Notre Dame team led by Joe Montana took on 15th-ranked Clemson. Notre Dame scored first but trailed 17-7 in the 4th. Montana sneaked across from the 2 late in the game as the Irish held off the Tigers 21-17, moving on to the national championship. That's Mercedes-Benz top performances. And of course, Death Valley will be the scene next week as the Irish head to play Clemson, which start off with a 3-0 record. Only the 3rd all-time meeting between the Irish and the Tigers. It's next week at Clemson. Ross Comas is the new quarterback. Flag down. Ross Comas, 6'2", 205, a redshirt freshman from Weirton, West Virginia, playing in his 2nd game this season.
He's a little bit more of an athletic quarterback. They like to liken him to a Johnny Manziel, the colors in the uniform and the number. And he likes to scramble around, hang on the ball, move around, be a total athlete there. Nice throw on the run, getting outside. So he's a little bit of a gunslinger. Completely different mode than Front Apple.
So the holding penalty sets the ball back to the 13-yard line.
Now, Front Apple got 40 throws in. He would have gotten to his 50, but they pulled him out.
He would have. Draw play. Hand off to Jamal Wilson. Notre Dame has scored 41 unanswered points.
Boy, it was 21-20. Only because UMass missed an extra point. And they were battling. They were battling. Punt return was a big momentum swing. The Notre Dame defense picked it up late in the first half, and it's been just rolling since.
Comas with a complete pass to Woodley. Back to the original line of scrimmage where he's hit by Devon Coney.
Coney, a young linebacker that came in the spring. Very athletic. They said he was a man when he walked on campus. He was physically ready to play linebacker at this level when he showed up.
6'1", 235.
You know, he's a guy. He's a guy that's going to be in the mix. They're just so deep at linebacker right now.
Comas just got rid of it. A flag down as it was complete again to Woodley. Niles Morgan had him, but there's a flag.
Personal foul, face mask Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Morgan got him with a face mask.
There's a good chance he was going to slip this tackle and head in the secondary. There was a lot of running room, and Niles Morgan just reaches across, grabs Woodley's face mask, down he goes, and that's 15 any day. That was almost out of necessity. I don't like to see it, but from a defender standpoint, it's like, oh, he's getting away, and you just reach for anything you can get, and that's a 15-yarder. There is no 5-yarder anymore.
Thomas hands to Lindsey. UMass had some success early running the football, but none to speak of lately.
Yeah, they still have extra offensive tackles in there and doing the same thing they were doing earlier. I think more than anything, it's getting worn down. That the physicality, the substitutions on the Notre Dame side,
the depth of the Irish, you know.
That all just comes into play.
Ross Comas, under duress, managed to whip it out to Elgin Long for a short completion. Coney again on the play for the Notre Dame defense.
Nice little open field tackle by Coney, and a nice throw. Really didn't set his feet. He's looking downfield one way and kind of just slings it out the side the other way. So you can tell he's got some athleticism at quarterback. Coney running across the field and then in space making a tackle.
UMass players were looking forward to their first trip to Notre Dame Stadium, but as you can see on the sideline as we had a shot a moment ago, not too pleasant at this point. Almost fit that one in there somehow. Caught by Long, who was spun to the turf by Morgan.
You know, Niles Morgan is right on Long's back and kind of pulled off because he didn't want an interference call and lets him catch the ball accidentally. He was hoping to make a play, chasing stride for stride across the field. Nice delivery on the ball right in the money. But you could see Niles Morgan's arms kind of fly to the side because he was afraid of an interference call, and it turns into a reception.
Just short of midfield. Thomas scrambling. Hit hard. You could hear it up here as he was hit at the 50-yard line. Matuska was one of the hitters, and so was Bonner.
Actually, Matuska did a nice job of seeing the screen happening and chasing flat. I want to see Comas take off, scramble around, hang on the ball a little bit.
Another complete pass. Short gain for Harris. And Martini made the stop for Notre Dame. Brian Van Gorder, after the defense was scolded at halftime by the head coach, they turned it up a notch in the second half.
There's a little bit of the mad scientist in him. He gets a little hot once in a while. Probably lit the guys up, made some great adjustments.
Lindsey out of the backfield picks up a UMass first down.
I'm sure he was not happy with his defense's performance throughout. Max Redfield saying, hey, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to lay somebody out today.
Well, Van Gorder's defense gave up 20 points in the first half, but none since till then. Shakur Nesmith with a catch from Ross Comas. The touchdown pass covered 33 yards, so Comas gets into the books with his touchdown pass.
This is a beautiful throw. Puts it up over the top, lays it in there. Perfectly placed. It doesn't get any better than that. Good coverage, one-on-one. It's just a perfect placement of the ball.
Caggiano for the extra point.
He's not running around and scrambling. He's setting his feet and delivering the football.
All right, looked good. And the extra point is good with 3:35 left. Notre Dame 62, UMass 27. Beautiful shot of the administration building, the Golden Dome here at the University of Notre Dame. 62-27 the count. And a look at Chad Klunder, who is the director of football operations here at Notre Dame in his 13th season here. Best wishes go out to Chad and his family. His mom, Vicki, back in Iowa at the University Hospital battling cancer, but watching today
And our best wishes to Vicky, and we hope that you enjoyed the game and send all our wishes and prayers your way. Dexter Williams returning. CJ Procise smiling. That's why he was smiling when he talked about being a running back to us yesterday. Said he never in his wildest dreams did he ever figure he would be a running back, much less be one of the top ones in the country, and now own the Notre Dame Stadium record for the longest run from scrimmage. And another big day today. He started out with over 100 yards in the first quarter. 15 rushes, 149 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. Brandon Wimbush continues to direct the offense, and kind of a mix-up there, it appeared. But he keeps it and turns it into something good. A positive move by Wimbush, who ducks out of bounds after a big gain on what looked to be a busted play.
You know, the youngsters are at their best. The young kids that are a little uncertain about reads and things like that, when they can just be a pure athlete. Okay, there's a mix-up on it. Maybe I should have given it to him. The heck with it. I'm running, and I'm going to take off. And that's what is just so instinctive for all of them, whether it's Wimbush, Williams, or Adams. When the ball's in their hands, they're comfortable.
Hand off here to Dexter Williams. So the Irish have put up 62. That's the most they have scored since they beat Rutgers 62-0 back in 1996. And again, we reiterate, at one point this game was 21-20.
That's where I was thinking. 62-0 over Rutgers. Catherine's got to be cringing. Catherine tapping downstairs.
She's a Rutgers alum. Williams stopped short of the first down as the clock approaches 2 minutes.
I think Brian Kelly has to be happy that he got a lot of the young guys into the game. Allow them to get now this isn't the intense action. If all of a sudden Brandon Wimbush has to go into the game against Clemson in the first half and they're down by 7 or whatever, but it's enough for experience and to get comfortable in a game situation so that that situation ever comes up, they have experience.
4 touchdowns today by the freshman. And as you say, that seems sure to pay dividends down the road. C.J. Sanders couldn't quite make the first down. So it'll be 4th down for the Irish.
You may as well stay in there and just run the football, and if you get the first down, you run the clock out. If not, give the ball to UMass out in here rather than just punting in these situations towards the end of a game. Or he's taking a delay of game, winding as much clock as possible.
Well, the fans got a chance to see the future of Notre Dame football today with some of those young players. You have to be impressed.
No doubt about it. I mean, Brian Kelly, in talking to us throughout the year, has always talked about the athleticism of some of the young players, whether it's Jones at tight end or Williams and Adams at tailback or St. Brown at receiver. But usually they're lost X and O's wise, and they have to catch up on that end.
And tonight, it's the first heavyweight title fight in primetime on NBC in 30 years as undefeated champion Deontay Wilder defends his title against Johan Duhaupas. That's Premier Boxing Champions tonight at 8:30 Eastern and 5:30 Pacific here on NBC. Leprechaun looked like he was ready to duke it out.
He's always feisty. He's ready. He's ready at any time.
I think he'd be tired. Has he done 62 push-ups?
I don't know. I think Hines has had his run. Hines used to get really excited about getting his pictures with all the leprechauns around campus. That's Hines Ward.
Here's the punt on 4th down that cannot be down. One of the big plays in that first half was a punt that Notre Dame knocked down at the half-yard line, and when UMass was forced to punt, a return by Sanders for a touchdown. So they almost got another one down deep.
That was key, and that was the turning point of the game where UMass couldn't get out of their own end, had to punt out of their end zone, return for the touchdown, and momentum just picked up, and it kind of collapsed the will of UMass. And I mean, they shouldn't be disheartened. They played their tail off, especially through that first half. Found a way to move the ball, got it in the end zone a number of times. Should have been a 21-21 game late in the second quarter.
And there is Sanders, who had that 50-yard punt return for a touchdown. But all UMass did in the final analysis was wake the sleeping giant. And Notre Dame went on a roll, and that's an understatement. Final 30 seconds of this game as Brian Kelly and the Irish will go to 4 wins and no losses with that match at Clemson coming up next week. Comas with a scramble. Took a hit too. Hard hit from Morgan and Martini. That'll be it. Coach Whipple, as you said, nothing to be ashamed of. They stood toe-to-toe for a while anyway with the big favorite Irish. Coach Kelly and Coach Whipple. And both have a smile. That's a good sign. And the Notre Dame fans were treated to a chance to see some of the stars of the future today. And Blake Fronapple, well, in your assessment, has a future in the NFL. Let's go down to Catherine.
Tom, thank you. Coach, what did you like most about this win today?
Well, I thought, we were able to get offensively, some good things accomplished, getting to, obviously Brandon into the game, ran the ball effectively today. All of our backs, obviously getting into some rhythm that we need. We got to get Josh Adams some time. Dexter Williams, pleased with that. And then we played better in the second half defensively.
Clemson has had a lot of time to prepare for you guys. They haven't played since September 17th. How quickly do you start preparing for the 3-0 Clemson team next week?
Well, same thing. We got a 24-hour rule around here. We're going to enjoy this for 24 hours. It's hard to win, and we're going to like this win for 24 hours and get right to work on Clemson.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Back up to you, Tom.
All right, final score 62-27. And for Brian Kelly's full press conference, go to NBCSports.com. October 10th, Notre Dame returns to NBC when the Fighting Irish take on Navy. And coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's your local news. Tonight, it's the first heavyweight title fight in prime time on NBC in 30 years. That's Premier Boxing Champions tonight at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Notre Dame explodes after only leading by 1 to win it big. This is Tom Hammond now, speaking for our entire NBC crew, thanking you for watching Notre Dame football on NBC.